Hi there, it's David Young, the Resourceful Coach, and what we're going to look at today is another one of my 12 shots of golf ideas. And we're going to look at, when I go on the golf course, I split my lessons into 4 categories, and we're going to look at what you do inside 100 yards. Now my 4 categories are putting, inside 100 yards, outside 100 yards, and driving. And that's your driving on par 4s and par 5s. So what we're going to focus on today is really going to look at 3 different shots going into the green. We're going to look at a 40-yard pitch, 70-yard pitch, and a 100-yard pitch. And we're looking at those shots and what we need to achieve, but also we're going to look at the choice of club. And I get a lot of people comment on my golf swing about the rhythm and the tempo, and I feel this is the most important thing to get right when you're playing these short game shots, is get the tempo right, because if you do, what it starts to do is give you a more consistent strike on the ball. You can then work out what power is required to play the shot. So everything today is really about that. And you'll see as we go through these shots, I will just change one thing, and we'll come to that as we go through the longer shots. I'm going to change one thing as we go through this to decide how I'm going to get the result that I want. But if we're looking at a 40-yard pitch, we've got a shot here going up onto the green, and we've probably got only about 15 feet of green to play with going up to the flag. It's a January day here in the UK. The greens are going to be receptive. It's a shot that what I want to feel is that I can get that ball to land nicely up on the green. But the most important thing I want to get, because the ground is so soft under the ball, is a consistent connection on the ball. And one of the biggest errors I see with golfers here, they'll pull out the most lofted club that they've got because they think it looks great and it will stop. But the great thing at the moment is the ground is soft, it will stop anyway. So I'm actually going to use a club that I know is going to give me plenty of power to get there. I know I can pull out a lob wedge from here and put it on the green, but I'm now going to start to make a swing that is far bigger and will feel a little bit out of control. So I want to feel, anytime I'm looking to control the distance, I want to be in control of myself. And if I'm in control of myself, I'm in control of the club. If I'm in control of the club, there's a pretty good chance I'm going to be in control of that ball. So I'm just going to use a gap wedge here, 52-degree wedge. It's all I'm looking to play here. And I'm looking just to get a nice solid contact on the ball. So it's really important to understand, for me, really 3 things, okay? Number 1, imagine the flight of the shot. What do you want the ball to do? And that creates then your setup. That's what you're looking to achieve from your setup, because you've chosen the club. You're going to determine your ball position to now get the flight that you want as you go through the shot. Number 2, what I'm looking for is a length of swing. A length of swing I know will give me enough power to get there. Now I know if I hit a 52-degree at full power, I'm going to get over 100 yards. But I want to feel the nice control of the shot. So the length of swing is going to be important. And the third thing, as we've already mentioned, is that sort of rhythm and tempo. I want to feel that that stays the same. And that's the one thing you'll see as we go through these different shots, is going to be maintained throughout these shots. I'm not looking to change that position as I go through. I want to feel the rhythm and the tempo stays the same. And what I found, that makes it easier to get the consistency of strike on the ball. So let's look at this 40-yard shot. What are we looking at here? So as I said, I know this is plenty of club. So if you've watched some of my other videos on short game, any of those shots, my biggest thing always, if I can do it, I want to get control of the club and I want to get control of myself. So the biggest thing I see when people play these shots, they're trying to slow the swing up rather than what I want them to do is feel they're being nice and committed through the ball. So the first thing I do to play this shot correctly is I'll narrow my stance up. Actually, let's have a look at this from a different angle so you can see that idea. So if we start looking at it more from the face-on angle, we're going to see 2 important things here. Number 1, the flight of the ball is going to be dictated by the choice of club and my ball position. And that's really, really important. I want to feel when I'm playing the shot, as we mentioned, I want to get a controlled shot. So the first thing I do, I'm going to narrow my stance to feel like I'm more in control. And the second thing is I want to play the ball central to maybe slightly back in my stance. Because the most important thing I want to do is I want to get the contact on the ball first. So I see a lot of golfers play off their front foot, hit the ground, top it. They don't get the result they want. If you watch a good chipper of the ball, he's always playing that ball with a descending blow with the club to now reach the bottom of the ball, and also then the grooves can grip the golf ball and give you control on the shot. So I'm going to go a little bit narrow because it's only 40 yards. I'm also now going to look at it and think, play a little bit back in my stance to get that ball moving forwards. I've got plenty of loft on my club, 52 degrees. If I hit it correctly, it will fly through the air, it will stop on the green, absolutely no problem at all. But now here's the key thing that we're going to talk a lot about through these 3 sort of different positions: rhythm and tempo. So I sort of, again, was brought up in the era of Nick Faldo, who had a very sort of rhythmical swing. Then you had the likes of Ernie Els, Luke Donald, all these players, and I tended to copy them. And what I found was my biggest friend when I played golf was gravity. So I tended to find that once I got good connection on the ball, all I had to decide was how far to let the club come back, let it swing through. And if I sort of let the momentum just come down, I wasn't trying to force the shot. I see a lot of people play this and they're trying to hit it hard. I'm just feeling the club. And that's what you guys see in my videos. You all pick up on that, and you'll pick up more when I do the 70 to 100 yard shot as the swing gets bigger. But what do I want to feel? I want to feel the sensation that when that club's swinging back and through, I can let the club reach the bottom of the ball. I can trust the golf club to do the job for me. And from that position then, I'm just feeling that tempo. And just watch my swing. You'll see it won't change as we go through the 3 shots. And that ball's landed about 37, 38 yards and stopped within 3 or 4 yards. So I've got my 40 yards. And what it is now in my mind, I don't need to change anything from that shot. I just need to repeat it. And in theory, that should be the easiest thing, okay? But all I've got to feel is that same swing again. I know if I swing the club, let's call it X distance, and I let it go now, it will hit it 40 yards with this club. So I've just got to remind myself of that feeling. Don't want to change it. I want to stay the same again. From there, you can see quite a narrow stance, just 40-yard shot, up. Strike is there. And again, because I'm sticking with the same length of swing, I'm sticking with the same tempo, that golf ball's gone 40 yards. It's landed about 37, 38 yards and ended up pretty much bang on where I want to be. So let's do it a third time. Do the same thing. Let's see what we get. Just keeping that rhythm up onto the green. And if I look at my shots, what I've achieved there is I've got the golf balls between 5 to 8 feet away from the hole. As a professional golfer, 40 yards, that's what I need to be doing. So just to put it in guidelines with my 12 shots of golf, a scratch golfer on average would be about 8 feet away. If we start to go more to a player shooting around 80, we're looking now at a shot they're getting probably between 15 and 20 feet away. And then our 18 handicap golfer, the player shooting 90, you're now around about 25 to 30 feet away. So what you've got to realize from here, even as an 18 handicap golfer, if you can get that rhythm and tempo and hit that green and 2-putt, you're actually playing nearer to 14 handicap. You're playing better than that. So this is a shot on average. You'll probably 10% of the time, it'll take you 4 shots to get down. For me as a professional golfer, 40% of the time I need to get down in 2, but still 60% of the time I'm going to get down in 3. So it's realizing what you can and can't do. So you can see straight away, I'm keeping it very simple. I'm keeping that rhythm to the swing. And you can see from the results of the balls, we're getting a decent result on the shots. So here's our second shot. We're now looking at a 70-yard shot. Let's give you a little bit of data to start with. So as a scratch golfer, 15 feet would be a pretty average shot. We're getting to around about 25 to 30 feet if you're playing around about 80. And if you're shooting 90, we're talking 45 to 50 feet. So again, get those ideas in your head. You're 70 yards away. Again, everybody's thinking I should be sticking this 2 feet from the hole. If you were, great. But the chances are, if you're a player playing an average handicap, get it on that green, you're going to be doing fine. But what am I going to change? Very little. I've added 30 yards to the shot. I'm going to stick with exactly the same club. I'm going to stick with exactly the same stance. All I'm going to change is the length of the swing. And we've gone back more to this angle so you can see the flight of the ball a little bit better. And we'll see the results of the balls up the other end. But all we're looking for now is, remember, if we just think very quickly back to the 40-yard shot, I was only going to about there and through with my 52. All I'm going to do now is extend that swing. But what I am going to do is keep the rhythm. You'll see the swing, the tempo won't change. So it looks pretty much the same speed. All I've increased is the length of the swing to get me there. So I keep the consistency. What would be a good shot? Inside 15 feet. And that one's probably around that number. So I'm quite happy with that shot. But hopefully what you can see, all I've really added as the swing gets bigger, and people ask me this question, do you cock your wrists when you're pitching? 100% yes. Go back and look at the 40-yard pitch. The wrists are starting to get involved. Let them. Doesn't mean you've got to flick them. You're just letting them cock. You're letting them uncock. And the key word there is let. I'm letting it happen. I'm not trying to force it. Everybody thinks, oh, I've got to be in certain technique positions. You don't. The weight of the club will do the work for you. As the swing gets bigger, the wrist will cock a little bit more. And if I'm doing a 60, a 50, a 30-yard pitch, different lengths, I just allow it to happen. But let's do that shot again. Quite happy with that result. Distance control was good. Let's lengthen the shot. Tiny bit left of the hole this time, but my distance is good because I'm trusting the rhythm, the tempo. So I'm not suddenly thinking 70 yards, I've got to hit it harder. I'm just letting the swing do the work for me. If I do that, I can control that distance much, much better. And we've hit 3 balls there, approximately, I'd say, about 12 to 15 feet from the hole. So I'm very, very happy with those results. So here's our final shot of our 12 shots of golf inside 100 yards. Well, it's exactly 100 yards. We're going to look at a 100-yard shot. And let's look at some data to start with. So we're looking from here. Scratch golfer, this is his average 3 shot. He's going to get down in 3 shots. So on average, you'll put it about 25 feet away and 2-putt it. For the player shooting around about 80, you're going to put this around about 40 to 45 feet away. And the player who's shooting 90, you're going to be nearer to 60 feet. So anywhere on that green's a good shot. And you're looking from this position as an 18 handicap golfer, it's a shot on average, you're going to probably be 50-50. 50% of the time you're going to get it down in 3, 50% in 4. So be okay with that. If you have 2 of these in a round, and overall it takes you 7 shots to get in the hole from 100 yards over 2 times, you're okay. You're doing what you're meant to be doing. But let's talk about what we've been doing with these shots. The 40 and the 70 was so much about controlling the power and rhythm. And I want you to take it into the 100-yard shot. Again, very easy now to pull out my gap wedge. I know I can hit it 100 yards. I'll get here, but now I've got to widen the stance. I've got to try and hit that ball harder. And as I go through, yeah, it could work. But hopefully looking at that shot, yeah, it's just crept on the front edge of the green. That felt like a lot of effort. And I want to make this game as easy as I can. So what I'm going to do, I know that'll go 100 yards. It's a cold day here in Kent, in the UK. We're only talking probably about 2 degrees as I'm doing these shots. But I would take this club on a nice summer's day. I'm just going to take my standard pitching wedge and I'm going to feel I'm just going to make a very slightly bigger swing than the 70-yard shot with my gap wedge. Just a tiny little bit more, but I'm going to keep that rhythm and tempo. And by doing that, the connection's better, the control of my distance is better. I'm increasing that chance I can get this down in 3, maybe the odd time I might get it down in 2. So let's look at that. I'm going to go with the same stance. I'm going to go narrower. Again, I'm controlling the shot because the most important thing is I want to control the ball. Straight away, I felt more comfortable in the shot. End result, 10 feet from the hole. Way, way better than average. But that's because I kept the rhythm and I kept the tempo. And here's the good news, like we said on the 40-yard shot, I've just got to do it again. I don't have to better it. I don't need to hit it harder. I just need to feel that rhythm. And as I get comments a lot about my swing, this sort of looking like a 3/4 swing, yeah, I'd rather hit one more club and have control than try and hit it full pelt and be out of control. And I think hopefully what you're seeing in this video is that idea. So let's hit a couple more. Just stick to that, what feels to me about an 80% shot. I'm not really hitting it full power. Control. That one looks all over it. Yeah, just a little bit short, but it's got onto the front edge. I'll be inside my 25 feet, but I've probably ended up around about 20 feet. But that's okay, because I know from my data, that's what I should be doing. All right, one final shot. And all I'm going to do, that narrow stance, rhythm and tempo, get the strike. Going towards the green nicely. We're on the green. and we're around that 20 feet away from maybe 15 to 20 feet. So what you can see through those shots is I'm not trying to power the shot. I'm trying to feel the shot. I'm getting that rhythm. And I'm trying to maintain the consistency from 40 to 70 to 100 yards. But what I've done, I haven't, again, one of my previous lessons was talking about your ego. I haven't fallen into the trap. I've got to hit the big club and power it down there. I found the club that works for me. And that's what I'd like you to do. Go to the practice ground, work out what club consistently works for you to control the distance that you want to go. If you do it, you're going to start hitting more greens and your short game is going to improve. And that data from inside 100 yards is going to be much, much better. I hope you've enjoyed today's tip. I've enjoyed hitting some shots for you. If you have enjoyed it, please share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to seeing you soon.